Please like and subscribe to our channel and donate to save the turtles. It was during one of our routine patrols along the coastline when we spotted her, a young sea turtle, weak and barely moving, her shell completely covered in barnacles. She was floating near the surface, struggling to keep her head above water. Barnacles. They may seem harmless, but for sea turtles, they can be life-threatening. When barnacles grow uncontrollably on a turtle's shell, it's usually a sign that something is very wrong. A healthy sea turtle can keep barnacle growth to a minimum by swimming actively, but when they're sick, injured, or too weak to move properly, barnacles quickly take over. These parasites attach themselves to the shell, skin, and even flippers, making it harder for the turtle to swim, dive, and even eat. And it's not just the weight of the barnacles. When they grow in large numbers, they can create deep wounds and infections on the turtle's body. When we pulled her out of the water, the extent of her suffering was painfully clear. Her shell was covered in clusters of barnacles, some of them so deeply embedded that they had started to cause bleeding and infection. She was dehydrated, underweight, and clearly exhausted from fighting for her life. We immediately began the painstaking process of removing the barnacles, one by one. It's a delicate procedure. Remove them too quickly or with too much force, and you risk damaging the turtle's shell even further. But it had to be done. The barnacles were robbing her of her strength, her ability to swim, and ultimately her chance at survival. After hours of careful work, we managed to clear her shell, but the battle wasn't over yet. The wounds left by the barnacles needed to be cleaned and treated to prevent infection. And even then, her recovery would take time, patience, and constant care. But she's a fighter, and we're here to make sure she gets the second chance she deserves. Her journey back to health won't be easy, but we won't give up on her, because every turtle's life matters, and this little one deserves a future free from pain and suffering. It started as an ordinary day out at sea. Fishermen were pulling in their nets, sorting their catch, when suddenly, something unexpected surfaced near the boat. A young sea turtle, struggling desperately, with a large fishing hook embedded deep inside its mouth. The line attached to the hook was tangled around one of its flippers, making every movement a painful battle. Fishing hooks and lines are among the most common threats sea turtles face. Thousands of them fall victim to these deadly traps each year. They mistake baited hooks for food, and once they bite down, the sharp metal lodges into their mouths, throats, or even stomachs. And when they struggle to free themselves, the lines can wrap around their necks or flippers, cutting deep into their flesh, causing excruciating wounds, infections, and sometimes even amputation. This turtle was lucky to have been found before it was too late. The fishermen carefully lifted the exhausted creature onto their boat, knowing that if they didn't act quickly, the damage could be irreversible. Back at the recovery center, the team immediately began working to save her life. The first step was to gently restrain her, preventing further injury while allowing the experts to assess the situation. The hook was deeply embedded in her mouth. Removing it wouldn't be easy. The team had to be extremely careful to avoid causing more damage to her throat and internal organs. Using specialized tools, they carefully worked to dislodge the hook, millimeter by millimeter. After what felt like an eternity, the hook was finally removed, but the damage was already done. The wound was deep and at high risk of infection. They cleaned it thoroughly, applied antibiotics, and began monitoring her closely. But that wasn't the end of her ordeal. The fishing line that had tangled around her flipper left deep cuts, raw and bleeding. If left untreated, it could lead to permanent damage or even loss of the flipper. The team gently cleaned the wounds, applied medication, and carefully bandaged the affected area. It was clear that her recovery would be a long and difficult journey. Despite everything, the little turtle showed signs of improvement. She began to eat again, cautiously at first, but with growing strength each day. Her wounds were healing, and her determination to survive was nothing short of incredible. But this rescue is just one of many. countless sea turtles continue to suffer from the careless use of fishing hooks and lines. For every turtle we save, there are many more still out there, entangled, wounded, and fighting for their lives. It's a sobering reminder that our actions have real consequences, but it's also a call to action. By spreading awareness, encouraging responsible fishing practices, and promoting the use of safer, wildlife-friendly gear, we can make a difference. This little turtle's recovery will take time, but thanks to the dedicated team of rescuers and the compassion of those willing to help, she has a fighting chance. And with enough effort, we can help ensure that fewer turtles have to suffer from this cruel and unnecessary threat. Please like and subscribe to our channel and donate to save the turtles.